Are you guys tired of playing CRYO and only finding like maybe one penguin on your runs? Are you tired of grinding 30 minutes to an hour just to find a couple penguins? Well, this video is for you. Basically, I wanted to make a video to help the community find penguins, and this is going to be a video of all of the spawns that me and a few other people have compiled in an attempt to help everyone else find penguins, because we all want to find penguins. We all want the cool little cosmetics that come along with it. We all want the drippy suits with the gas mask. It just looks so cool. But if you guys don't know me, my name is Jazenth. I played a lot of Labyrinth, as well as over 200 hours now of CRYO. Not only that, I have made it, and I've gotten every single achievement completed in CRYO. Done it all by myself, along with the help of some other people. So it technically wasn't by myself, but I had a couple people help me. And then also, I have collected 669 penguins as of this video, and I have unlocked every single penguin cosmetic in this game. So, how did I do it? Well, we're going to show you. This video is going to be pretty much just as much of a raw, uncut video of me going through the map and trying to find all the penguin spawns. I'm going to show you all the ones that I know of, and hopefully you too can be a penguin hunter. So, before I start it, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And we're also going to talk about the difficulty. So, a lot of people have been asking, does the difficulty matter when it comes to penguin hunting? And the answer is yes. The easier difficulties can spawn less penguins, and the harder difficulties spawn more penguins. I think for easy, it's anywhere between 3 and maybe 6 penguins. Whereas hell difficulty has about 9 to 12 penguins on average. Now, you're probably thinking, well, it's a no-brainer to run this on hell, and you can. But what I have found on my penguin hunting grind is that normal seems a lot easier to deal with the monster. You also get a lot more stamina, and if you're playing on solo doing this, you have the option to self-revive. And on hell, you don't have the option of self-reviving. And running away from the monster a lot more often on hell just, to me, doesn't seem worth it. But we're going to do a normal run. I'm going to show you all of the spawns that we know of. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into it. So I kind of have a rough route that I take. It obviously depends on if I'm running away from the monster or not. In this run specifically, I will probably just pick up a bunch of medkits and just purposefully knock myself for the sake of staying in one spot without running too much. But let's start with the spawn. To my knowledge and to our knowledge, we have not found any penguins in the spawn, which to us kind of makes sense. We don't really think it would be that easy to find penguins, because if not, you could theoretically just keep running games over and over again, checking that spawn and restarting. It's very boring, but it would be very efficient. But who wants to do that? I also want to say, with these penguins, you don't have to complete the game for it to count. It updates your tracker and updates your count as you pick them up. So you can pick up as many penguins as you want, and if you don't feel like finishing the game, you don't have to. But the first area that I'm going to check is inside of these bathrooms by the server room. We're going to check inside of these showers, because in each of these holders could be a penguin, as well as in this little cubby area. I've seen one in this cubby, and in this cubby, but I would just, you know, generally check all the cubbies. If you don't really see the penguin, you can kind of like move your mouse around and you will see the outline of the penguin and you can pick it up that way. I would check underneath this wet floor sign while you're at it. But let's make our way over to the other bathroom. We're going to check underneath this wet floor sign. And then we're also going to check in these showers. And then we're also going to check right over here by this trash. That was a spawn that I didn't find for a while. But now we're going to make our way over into the lobby area. So in the lobby area, we're going to check right here by these books. We're going to check right about here, because there could be a penguin behind the couch. We're going to check right here underneath these couch cushions. We're going to check right here behind the water jug. And then we're going to check right here in this fridge, because there could be a couple spawns inside of this fridge. Coming over here, we're going to check underneath these couch cushions. And then we're going to check on these desks. I've seen a penguin spawn right here. And then I've also seen a penguin spawn right about here. That's about it for the lobby area. So we're going to make our way over to the security bathrooms, picking up any med kits and fire extinguishers that we see along the way. For this bathroom, for the right bathroom, we're going to look right about here behind this pipe. We're going to look behind this box of detergent. And we're going to look inside of these showers. Moving over to the left bathroom, we're going to check... Dang! Watching out for the head crab. We're going to check these showers here. And then we're going to check in this cube shelf, specifically this cube, and then this cube, and this cube as well. Checking underneath the wet floor sign. Next, we're going to check out the storage area. This has a decent bit of spawn, so bear with me for this one. We're going to start right here next to these gas tanks. We're going to check right here in between this wooden crate and the storage bins. We're going to check right here next to these valves. We're going to check right about here. And then we're going to go inside of this little storage area. We're going to check right about here. We're going to check where these paint cans are. We're going to go down here, check next to this battery. And then we're going to check right over here by these barrels. Coming out here onto the bottom floor, we're going to go right about here, checking this area. We're going to go right about over here, checking out that. We're going to come over here and check this little crevice next to the hiding spot. And then we're going to go over here to check this spot out. We're going to check right here next to the cement bags. We're going to check over here next to the other cement bag. We're going to check right about here where the forklift is. And then we're going to check right about here. Coming up here, we're going to check by these boxes. We're going to check inside of the office area. Right about here is one spawn. Right about here is another spawn. And then over here is another spawn. Coming over here, we're going to check right here. We're going to check over here next to these barrels. And then we're going to check over here next to this pallet jack. We're now going to make our way out of storage to these outside stairs. That's what I like to call them because they lead to the outside area. Checking behind the forklift right about here. Checking by this pallet here. Checking over here by the lore page note. And as you can see here, there's a penguin. We're going to go up the stairs. We're going to go to the third landing, which can have a penguin right about here. And then up here on the fourth landing, there's a penguin right here. But currently, as of the making of this video, that penguin is not obtainable. So we're just going to have to hope that the devs actually make it obtainable in the future. We are going to make our way outside and we're going to check out these outside spawns. We're going to check right here next to the gas station at this body, right about here where the elbow is. We're going to check behind the gas station itself. We're going to check right here where these two cables are. Don't really see one. And then we're going to make our way right here where this hand is. And then we're going to make our way over here into this corner. And then we're going to do this little tech that I came up with where you jump on the snow, jump down here. There could be one spawn right about here and one spawn right about here. Then you jump onto these, jump onto that, and then you can jump over the fence. Then you jump over here in this corner, could be a penguin. And then over here on the railing itself can be a penguin. Making our way right here, there could be a penguin spawn on this box. And then over here on the left and right side of this box can be a penguin spawn. Let's go and warm ourselves up. And then I'm going to use the fire extinguisher. As of the making of this video, you can just spray it a little bit. And I like to walk back and forth, but the fire will just put itself out. This will probably get changed in the future. We're going to make our way into fire and medical. We're going to kind of go through these a little quickly. Right here in this corner of the locker. Right here on this shelf. Right here on this shelf. Right about here in this corner. If you open up the cabinet, there's one spawn on the top shelf, one spawn on the middle shelf. And if you come over here, specifically in this corner, I have seen a penguin spawn there. Making our way over here, I've seen a penguin spawn right about here. And then a penguin spawn right about here. Making our way over to the actual medical rooms. I think only one room has a spawn. And it's going to be right about here. And then we can also check here. And then also behind the picture frame can be a penguin. Let's make our way upstairs. There's a couple spawns here. We want to check inside of the grass. I think there's 2 or 4 spawns. There might be one on each corner, but it could just be one for each side of the grass. We're going to make our way over inside of here, and we're going to take a look right here. And then we're also going to check the laundry cart specifically on the top shelf. We're going to make our way right about here. We're going to look here on this middle shelf for the penguin. And this is locked, so we're going to open it. There's a couple spawns over here as well. Dodging the head crab. If you didn't know, you can crouch before you do the kick interaction. And you never get caught by the head crab. Coming into the storage room, you want to check about right here. And then also right about here on this shelf. Coming into the storage room, the cold storage, you want to check right about here for the penguin. We're going to pick up some med kits until we can find key cards. We're going to get access to all of the key cards, so we're going to need all of them. But next, I think we're going to go up these stairs here to Communications, Recreation Room, and Lodging A. We'll quickly do Communications. There's 3 spawns to my knowledge. Specifically right here by this power supply unit. Right here in the corner of this water tank. And then right over here behind the broadcast equipment. Right about there. We're going to make our way into Recreation Center. Coming over here to the lounge area, we're going to check this bookshelf right about here. We're going to check this bookshelf right about here. We're going to go check the men's restroom. I think it's on either the left side or the right side. But you want to check there. You want to check right about here next to this trash can. And then obviously inside of the fridge is where the penguin can spawn. Making our way over here into the gym area. Let's check right here in this corner. That's where one of the penguins can spawn. Right here next to the barbell. Right over here next to the dumbbell. Making our way over here. We're going to check both sides of the suitcase. And then we're going to check behind this water bottle. And then we're going to come over here and check the shampoo. As well as inside of the locker. We're going to pick up this security access card. So that way we can use it for later. And we're going to check the shower holder here. And one of my favorite spawns. Right here in the sauna. Right here in this corner. I'm going to have to remind myself to go to research and check out research. But we'll make our way back there. Let's go over to Lodging A. We're going to check right about here. Behind these flowers. We're going to check right about here. In the kitchen next to the stove. And we're going to check inside of the fridge. Making our way in. Actually, we should pick up this lab key card. Keeping in mind where I drop my med kits. We're going to check right here on the left and the right side of the grass. Then we're going to make our way into here. We're going to check right here in this corner. We're going to check right here behind this overturned chair. And we're going to check inside of the locker here. I believe there's 3 possible spawns here. I'm going to actually close this door. We're going to make our way over here and open these showers and check inside. We're going to go right here and check under the wet floor sign. We're going to then go into the laundry, check right about here. We're going to check right about here next to the clothes. And then right here where my cursor is a penguin spawn. However, as of the making of this video, it is currently unobtainable. But just know it's in this cube. So in case they do fix it, you can pick it up later. Moving into the new room of recreation, or not recreation, Lodging A. We're going to check in this gap, this gap, this gap, this gap, and this gap. Let me check for some cards. And then we're going to make our way over to the other rooms of Lodging A. Checking this chair right here because there could be a penguin spawn underneath it. And then making our way into this room with the triple bunk beds. We have a penguin that could be spawned behind the laptop. We're actually going to pick up this server key card. And we're going to take a look inside of this locker here. And then we're going to check behind this pillow and this pillow. Making our way over here to this room, which has 2 bunk beds. We're going to check inside of the locker. And then we're going to check right here by the book bag. Coming over here, we're going to check by this suitcase. We're going to check over here by this locker. And we're going to check over here in the corner. That's all the spawns that I know of in Lodging A. I haven't seen any in the dog pen. We're going to make our way over to water treatment. And we're going to check right here where this pipe is. We're going to check right here where this platform is. And then we're going to check right about here behind this toxic containers. Next, I'm going to go to warehouse. I like to check to see if there's a fire here. If there is a fire, I'll go this way, but if not, I'm just going to go this way. Let's make our way into the warehouse. We're actually going to start this way. We're going to go into these cargo bins. We're going to check right about here. We're going to check right about here. And then we're going to come over here to this door. Right about here is where I've seen a penguin. And then we're going to check the bottom shelf of warehouse. We're going to check here. I've seen a penguin spawn right here. So make sure to not forget this spawn. We're going to do a little scan. We're going to check the pillar. We're going to check right about here. Making sure to check underneath here. Checking right about here. And then checking this spot right here. We're going to check right here in between the forklift and the shelf. I've seen one right here. Then we're going to check the ladder. And then we're going to check this section here. We're going to check this metal pillar here. Moving over here. Dodging the head crab. Checking here. Checking here. Checking about here or here. Checking on top of the hiding spot. And as you can see here, there's a little penguin on the metal bar. And then we're going to check here in this little crevice. We're going to check about here. These spawns. And then we're going to come over to this guy. Check right here. We're going to check right about here. We're going to check on this ladder. And then we're going to check the left side, the right side, and the back part of this forklift. Next spawn that we're going to check is right here. And look at that. There's a penguin right there. Next spawn we're going to check is inside of this room. Right about here. Coming over here to this office area. We're going to check right about here. Now that we're done with all the warehouse spawns that we know of, we're going to move over to canteen. We're going to check this water bottle right here, this double water bottle. We're going to check the single water bottle. We're going to check right here by the noodles. We're going to check right here by the juice. Open this door. We're going to check right here by the emergency exit or fire alarm. We're going to check right here by the noodle bowls. And right here behind the grills, or in between the grills, I should say, is a penguin spawn. Same thing with right here. I would check right here as well, just to be safe. And then right here by this floodlight, I've seen a penguin spawn. Go into here, we're going to check by the sweet surprise. We're going to check by the water jug. And we're going to check right here by the sodas. Now we're going to go into probably the boring part, which is Lodging B. I don't like checking Lodging B, but there's a lot of spawns here, so if you want to check this out, go for it. I'm actually going to pull up my notes because, let's be real, space is kind of liminal. So checking this first room, 101, we're going to look right up here on top of the lockers. For 102, we're going to go right over here behind the pillow. If you do see a penguin behind these pillows, back up a little bit and then aim your cursor right about here, which will be the penguin's left foot, but your right. So you're going to be aiming right about here. And you should be able to pick it up. Moving over to the bathroom, there's 3 spawns in the women's bathroom. 1 right here, 1 right there, and 1 right here. Moving on to 103, we're going to check right about here. Moving on to 104. To my knowledge, it should be in the locker, but it's probably going to be underneath the desk. So I would check right about here. Here's the final card that we need, so we have everything that we need. That's going to be really nice. We're actually going to make our way up here. We're going to skip A2 101. We're going to go straight to 102. And we're going to check right about here. For 103, we're going to check behind the laptop. For 104, I believe we check up here on top of the locker. But if not, it's probably going to be inside of the locker. I would probably check inside the locker for this one. My notes are saying that it's inside the locker right about here. 105, we're going to be looking inside the locker, specifically in this corner right about there. And then for 106, we are actually going to check. Let's see. I think we're checking behind the pillow. So we'll check behind the pillow here. Moving on to 107. Actually, we're going to go to the fridge first. We're going to check the fridge. There's 3 potential spawns in this fridge. Moving to 107. We are going to check, I think it's behind the bed sheets. So we're going to check right about here. For 108, we're going to check underneath the desk drawers. So like right about here. For 109, we are going to check, I think it's inside the locker. Yes. So right about here is where we've seen the penguin. Moving on to 110, we're going to come in here and we're going to look at the top of the locker right about here. And then 111 and 112, we have not found a penguin in there, so we just don't check it anymore. For 113, for the second floor, we're going to check right inside of this chair. You probably can get a better angle if you stand on top of the drawer. You should be able to see the outline if you don't have a flashlight. Moving on to 114. I don't think there's one in here according to my notes, so we're going to actually go to 115. 115, we are going to check back here actually by the potato chips and the soda. For 116, I don't have anything in my notes for that one. We're going to go to 117. And as of the time of this recording, the penguin spawns right here in the air. So I would just check right here. Moving down to 105. It's the same situation. You just got to look right about here. So now we're going to move on. 106, to my knowledge, does not have a penguin spawn. But 107 should. So I think we are checking behind the pillow. No, we're going to check right about here. Actually close this door so you can get a better angle. Right about here. That's where we've seen the penguin. Moving on to 108. It's going to be underneath the desk drawers. I believe it's going to be under this one, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And then 109. The penguin's going to be behind these books. Going to 110, I don't think there's a penguin spawn there. Going to 111, we want to check over here behind the bed sheets. 112 doesn't look like it has a penguin spawn according to our notes. So we're going to check 113 and we're going to check right up here at the top of the locker. Moving on to 114, I believe we're going to be checking behind the pillow. Make sure I pick that card up on the way out. And then finally, 115, I believe is going to be inside of the locker. Right about here. So that's all the Lodging B spawns. So now we're going to make our way to the snow truck. In the snow truck, we're going to look in between this trash can and this shovel. Right about there. For snow truck, we're going to look behind these batteries. And then finally, we're going to look inside of this little blue cart. Now that we've done with snow truck, we're going to make our way over to maintenance. But yeah, guys, there is a lot of spawns to cover, but covering all these spawns for the community is going to help drastically for people who are struggling to find these penguins. So let's go over here to maintenance area. Hopefully the monster's not here. We're going to unlock it. All right, we're gonna close that door. We're gonna check right about here is our first spawn that we're gonna check. We're gonna check behind the forklift right here on the little trail hitch. We're gonna make our way over to right about here, I would say, is where you want to look for the penguin. We're gonna take a look at here, and as you can see here, there's a penguin. We're going to make our way this way. 9214. Let's unlock that door before we cover the rest of the spawns. Make sure I don't forget the code. 9, 2, 1, and 4. Let's cover this area. We're going to look about right here for the penguin. We're going to look right over here. Inside of this little gap. We're gonna make our way over here. I think it's on the second shelf right here behind this part, and then we're gonna come over here to this shelf right about here is where I've seen it. Okay, now making our way into the locked room, we're gonna first start off by checking here. We're going to check over here by this gap. And then over here behind this box. And then finally, I forgot to mention this one, right about here on top of these green bins. Since that's maintenance taken care of, I'm going to see if there's another med kit here. There isn't. That doesn't matter. We're going to go to labs anyway. Labs will be the next place that we check. And after we check labs, we'll check the locker room. By research stairs, we'll check research stairs itself. And then we'll check servers and security. And I believe that should be it. We're actually going to start over here. Opening up labs. So first things first, we want to check this fridge. There could be one spawn right here and one spawn right here. We're going to check this fridge. One spawn right here and one spawn right here. We're going to check right here. We're going to go check inside of the plant room on this side and this side of the box. And then there's going to be one spawn right about here. And there's going to be one spawn right about here. Hopefully we can find another med kit. But I don't think we need another med kit. Just be nice to have. We're going to check right about here in the cave area that connects Lab A to Lab B. We were just in Lab A, so we're going to make our way into Lab B. I do hear the monsters, so we're going to probably just let it kill us. But we're going to check right about here. We're going to go over here and check this area. We're going to check right here to the left of this container. I'm guessing it's a stalker because I don't really hear its footsteps. Hello. This might be the part of the video where I go down a lot because the monster tends to be around the research stairs area, so we're just going to let him go away. Sup, head crab? We're going to start reviving ourselves. And we'll just go a little bit quieter throughout this part. So as you can see, we checked here. We checked right about here. And we checked this table. So the next one that I'm going to check is over here. We're going to check in between these two medical bottles. And we're also going to check right about here by the whiteboard. We're now going to make our way over to the cold storage. And we're going to check inside of this sink. We're going to actually open this door. So that way we can drop the card and pick up the med kit. And inside of here, we're going to check in the fridge. Right here and right here. And then we're also going to check right about here. Let's find that code to the locked room. 9934. Nine, 3, and 4. There's a couple spawns to check inside of the locked room. First is going to be right here in the sink. Second is going to be right here in this corner. And then also over here in this corner. I believe that's going to be it for labs. So we're going to make our way over to the locker room / research stairs area. Hopefully the monster doesn't aggro onto us. In research stairs, you want to check right about here. Inside of the gap here. We're going to check right over here by these boxes. And then probably what is the most diabolical penguin spawn that I have seen so far, besides the unattainable ones, is right here. The reason why it's so diabolical is that there is a little fin here that makes it to where the outline is visible. But if you're not looking here, you're not finding this penguin. But it is pick up, like you can pick it up. We're going to move here into the locker room. We're going to check this locker right here. We're going to check right here by the cube shelf behind the thing of shampoo. We're going to check right about here inside of this busted locker. And we're going to check right here in the corner. I think I hear him in the generator. I think he's on the stairs. Or not in the stairs, he's in the vent. We're going to check right here on this first landing. And then we're going to check on the third landing right about here. All right, let's get security open. So we need to start by opening up servers first. So we're going to get this top server. I haven't seen any penguins in the top server room. So we're just going to do this and make our way down. We're going to take our sweet time. That security card, or that lab card we threw, that's not a spawn. Oh, okay. I thought he was going to be in the lobby, so... But he was right there. We're just going to crawl our way over to the server room. Should have just stuck server. Fun fact, if you are playing on solo and you have multiple med kits, start with the rightmost med kit. There's currently a bug right now where if you start with the left one and you go down with an empty med kit and it's in like the leftmost slot, then you're basically just going to get sent back to the lobby. It's some weird logic in the code that checks for an empty med kit. I'm not sure. We're going to open up this bottom server room. There is a couple spawns here that we need to check. But let's first do this. That way we can unlock our security room. First spawn that we're going to check is right here behind the laptop. Second spawn we're going to check is right here next to the trash can. And then the third spawn, and the final spawn that we know of, is right here behind the box. So now that we've done that, we're going to go check out the security room. And I realized we did not do research. So I'll have to do research. We'll end on research. Making our way over to the security room. There are two spawns that we know of. So let's unlock that. Coming into security, we're going to check right here in the locker. And then we're going to check right here next to the room. I might also check the interrogation room behind this plant. But those are the only spawns that we know of in security. Let's finish up with research. So we might run into the stalker here. Oh, that's new. That's crazy. That's wild that we got that on video. Oh my god, so the animation, you can just run past him. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, so research. I'm kind of shocked that that happened. But then research is the last place that we're going to take a look at. We're going to look at right about here. There's going to be a penguin right behind this chair. And then we're going to have to unlock the printer room where you do the research papers. 2953. 2, 9, 5, and 3. And then the last spawn that I'm going to tell you guys about is right here in the printer room. Kind of a diabolical spawn if you ask me. So as you're coming in, you're going to go to this bookshelf. You're going to look right about here, and that's where you're going to find it. But yeah, guys, that's about it. Let's go back to lobby. So, like I said, you're probably not going to find as many penguins as you want. Like, I think on normal, which is what I usually run, it's like 5 to 9, but it's kind of more closer to like 7 to 9. It's very rare that we see 5. If you don't know how to check the penguins, there's going to be a message in the Valko Game Studios that we use to find your player log. And what you do is you find your player log, you open it up, you load into a game. Once you load into a game, you're going to search for either penguin or the difficulty that you're playing on. Go to the last instance, and it's going to have the number of penguins there. It's not going to tell you where they are, but you'll at least know how many penguins are on that map. But anyway, guys, that's about it. If you guys made it this far, please give me a like and subscribe. Comment on the video as well. Tell me what your most interesting penguin spawn is from this video. For me, it's obviously that one by the research stairs, but if you guys have a favorite penguin spawn, be sure to put it down below in the comments. But anyway, guys, I know this video was a long one and it's not super flashy with all the editing, but I wanted to at least get something out to help the community. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.